Good morning, sweet friends. How are you today? So good to see you. Welcome. If you are able to be on here live with me this morning, it's wonderful to see you. I'd love for you to say hello because we're friends and stuff. And if you're joining me later on, catching this on the replay, I'd also love for you to still say hi. Love to connect with you all. So I am thrilled to answer some of the member questions that I had a few weeks ago around nutrition questions with fitness activity. So in the Orange Theory member group, they're doing an 8-week challenge there. And a lot of the members had some wonderful nutrition questions that I'm going to share and answer here. A lot of those members are here in the group now, which is wonderful. It's so good to have you. And I think this will just be valuable for everyone. Nutrition is very individual and it's very contextual. It depends on so many things. It depends on your circumstances, your life, your individual needs, your body composition, your activity level. There's so many elements that play a role in the answers to these questions. So the theme here is that it really depends. It really depends on so many things with nutrition. There's not just one right way, one right answer. And this is why I value working with people individually, getting very thorough individual responses, working through your own barriers and challenges in life, and looking at the opportunities that you also have within your life and your schedule. Because even if I just tell you, this is how many grams of protein you need to eat every day, there's also barriers for getting there, right? It's not just tell me the numbers, tell me what to do. There's so much more to nutrition than numbers and calories. Let me know if that resonates with you, if you felt that way before. So let's dive in here. One of the first questions I had here was, okay, Skylar says, what's a good on-the-go snack towards later in the afternoon? I know we all get busy and want to eat something small if there is a later workout class that you're going to. So this is in a scenario where someone's working out at 4, 5, or 6, and you don't want to have a big dinner prior to that, obviously. So with the afternoon workout classes, it's really going to matter mostly what you're doing throughout the day. So important to make sure you're having a balanced breakfast, having a balanced lunch, making sure you're having those adequate meals first and foremost. And then the type of snack that you have is really dependent on how long until your workout class. Again, this is so individual, but if you're working out at, let's say, the 4 o'clock in the afternoon time, depending what you had for breakfast and lunch, you may be good until, for your 4 o'clock workout, and then having something, right after that before dinner may be best for you. So like, for example, if you're having lunch at noon, that's really a good 4 hours before your workout. So personally, again, depending what your lunch is, if you're having that adequate lunch, that's like 4 hours to digest your food, feel good in your workout, and then have something after. Once you start to get to the 5 and 6 time, that depends, right? So it may be helpful for you to have something at 2 or 3. And pre-workout, you want something that is quicker digesting. You want to give your body time to digest your food, because when you're working out, especially high intensity, your body's bringing all of your blood to your muscles and to your extremities to perform in your workout. We also need blood and energy to digest and absorb our food. So when we're trying to do both of those actions at the same time, workout, high intensity, which is like a stress response essentially in the body, and then you're also trying to digest and absorb your food, these two things clash. And that's why you typically get a stomach ache. Your body needs, it's in two different parts of your nervous system, right? Sympathetic nervous system, upregulated, fight or flight. Parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. Those are two different things. So that being said, if you are having something, pre-workout at that time, you want more of a quick digesting, low fat. So fat is going to take more energy for your body to digest and absorb. So that can kind of sit in your stomach longer. You want more of a carb option and a little bit of protein. So for example, something like fruit and yogurt, or even just fruit, dried fruit, fresh fruit, a granola bar, nut and fruit bar. So something like an RX bar, or if it's a big Cliff bar, maybe doing a half a Cliff bar or a full one, just again, depending. I will say with the bars, the energy bars, be careful of the sugar alcohols. Sugar alcohols are replacing the sweeteners, natural sweeteners in these products. But our body, sugar alcohols are a chemical that our body doesn't digest. That's why they're promoted as lower calorie, lower carbs, because our body's not digesting it. Okay, great. But that can also cause stomach upset, affect digestion, because your gut bacteria is trying to digest the sugar alcohols, but it can't. So it creates those gas bubbles sometimes. So it's not that you can't have sugar alcohols, but just be mindful if you're having that a lot, and then you also have digestive issues, those two things may be related. Again, that's why it's so important to look at all the variables and not just isolate to one area. And as I'm going through things, if you have questions, if you have things to add on to what I'm saying, drop them in the chat box. I will try to pay attention to that also. Okay, hopefully that answers your question with the evening and afternoon workouts. And then you just want to make sure just having your adequate dinner within 60 to 90 minutes after your workout is going to be the best option. Next question, Jade says, if your goal weight is fat loss, inches lost, trying to fit back into certain clothes, how many calories below our metabolic rate should our daily goal be? All right, so to clarify, your basal metabolic rate is the calories that your body needs at rest for survival, for your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your brain to function. If you were laying in bed, not doing anything all day for your body to perform all of the survival functioning, that is your basal metabolic rate. You do not want to eat below this number. And I can talk more about what your total daily energy expenditure is and why this is so important. But I know for the Orange Theory members, when you're doing the in-body scans, the number that you're getting that says your BMR is actually this number that we talked about, the BMR multiplied by a sedentary activity level, meaning this number is a little bit higher than your resting metabolism. So they're multiplying that by a number of just daily movement throughout the day, walking to your car, going to the grocery store, doing laundry, that non-exercise activity. So potentially this number could be a good calorie target for you if this is the number you're using from your in-body scan. What I am doing with my nutrition clients is calculating their actual BMR, so calories at rest, and then multiplying this number by an activity factor, which is including both non-exercise and formal exercise activity. That is going to give us the total daily energy expenditure of the day that your body utilizes. So resting and then also moving and digesting your food, total daily energy. From that number, that's the number of calories that you're maintaining your current weight with your activity level. then we're aiming for about 200, 250, 300 calories below your total daily energy expenditure. This can feel overwhelming and complicated, and that's why we ask for support with helping us understand this for our body. I don't expect you to calculate this yourself, honestly. That's why we bring our taxes to an accountant, and that's why we bring our car to a mechanic, and that's why we go to a dietitian for support around what this looks like for us. So if this feels overwhelming, it can be, it absolutely can be. And this is where it can be so helpful to have support around this. But it is helpful to understand where this is coming from and why versus just me spitting out numbers to you. In a future training and video, I will explain more about BMR and total daily energy expenditure. And I have done one before I can link, but that's another conversation. Next question. Lena says, how much protein should I be eating, especially if I'm a vegetarian? So, I love it because Lena is now a nutrition client of mine. She reached out for support, which is fabulous. And she's doing amazing. In just a month, she's made so much progress. There is a difference between adequate protein and optimal protein. Adequate protein is enough to offset a deficiency. Again, to give your body what it needs for basic functioning, to replenish tendons and ligaments and cell turnover and all those building blocks, essentially, that proteins do for our bodies, amino acids that it's broken down into. Optimal protein is important to stimulate muscle synthesis, preserve muscle mass, and prevent age-related declines in health and physical functioning. So if you're someone that is working out high intensity, doing strength training, extra things on top of those basic needs that your body uses for protein, this is where you really need to have an optimal amount of protein. Now, that being said, there's also excessive amounts of protein. So we just have to find this middle ground that you're having adequate protein for your body to feel good, performing your workouts, but not excessive where it's primarily the only thing you're eating and not having the other macronutrients of carbs and fats and that balance. As adults, we lose about 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade over the age of 30. That's a small percentage. So this isn't like your body's literally wasting away, but it is important to acknowledge a rate that increases after age 60. Our body is losing muscle mass as we age. So to counter that loss, it's appropriate to have enough protein. You want to have enough protein in your diet and physical activity, strength training, to preserve muscle mass and prevent age-related declines in health and physical functioning, especially since older adults need more protein to stimulate that muscle synthesis. So that being said, research suggests about 1 to 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is optimal intake, with room to go even a little bit higher depending what your needs are. To get your weight in kilograms, you divide your body weight in pounds by 2.2. In general, protein needs are about 10 to 35% of your total calories that you need per day. Total calories, the percentage from there. Personally, I usually aim for about 25 to 28% of total energy, total calorie needs per day, depending on activity level, age, and energy requirements. This is very individual. But working with Lena as a vegetarian, right? So even knowing this number, it was still very overwhelming for her to say, okay, great, this is how much I need, but how do we go about getting there? And especially as a vegetarian, you do have to be more intentional. It's not that you can't do it. You just have to be more thoughtful about how you're getting more of the plant sources of protein in your diet. And she's been doing great with that. Okay, moving on. Catherine says, any tips for women with PCOS? Polycystic ovarian syndrome is what that stands for, in case you're unaware. And honestly, it's very similar recommendations to anybody else that I'm working with, nutrition, activity, and taking better care of themselves. It's really not anything revolutionary in the sense of like the magical thing. So essentially, making sure that you're having adequate balanced meals throughout the day. So having enough carbs, protein, fats, color, fiber at your meals, having those steady meals, not waiting too long in between meals, having breakfast with enough protein, getting consistent, adequate sleep, 7 to 9 hours every night. You may also benefit from lower intensity exercise, because if your body feels stressed and you're constantly producing cortisol, this is affecting insulin levels also. So you may, if your stress is out of control, you may benefit from lower intensity exercise, not being sedentary, but things like walking, yoga, Pilates, bar, things that are moving, but less high intensity, less HIIT training, and managing your stress. Managing your stress better, making sure you have better coping mechanisms, all the things that are lifestyle factors, but tremendously important. And then the big piece here with nutrition is also fiber. And this is what I'm recommending to everybody too. Fiber and protein rich meals is going to help your blood sugar and insulin levels. Whole foods, nutrient dense foods, whole grains, beans, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, low fat dairy, a variety of lean meat, fish, seafoods. Right? Nothing that's like, oh, I never knew that. And then Ashna says, are there any supplements that someone with PCOS would benefit from taking? Again, focus on the foundational pieces first. So if you're not doing the things that I just mentioned and you're trying to just add supplements, it's like decorating your house and focusing on what pillows you're putting on your couch and what color throw you're adding into your living room without having a strong foundation and framework and support system of your house. Okay, so just throwing supplements and taking those, they're isolated compounds. Your body uses whole food sources so much better, meaning having an apple versus taking vitamin C or isolated vitamin. Your body's going to use the fiber and all the other nutrients and the carbs, and that food is going to be utilized more fully for your body. Not that there's not a place for supplements or vitamins, but they're like the extra things that we can do to support your body on top of the basics. Next question, Gina says, do you recommend any supplements or multivitamins? Refer back to my last answer with that question, but only if there's really a noted deficiency. A vitamin deficiency. So if you have your labs tested and you have a noted vitamin deficiency, then that can take some looking into, but really focusing on food sources first. Like I just was saying, your body's going to utilize whole foods more effectively because it's not just the iron that we need. Your body uses all these other vitamins and minerals to digest the iron. So vitamin C helps with iron absorption. That's why it's so important to have a variety of foods and nutrients in your diet so your body effectively absorbs and utilizes the nutrients that you're giving it. In general, a multivitamin can be a great option to just fill in the gaps. A prenatal vitamin is great if you're someone that's in the process of potentially getting pregnant in the next months or year. Those kind of things are great, just basic things to, again, fill in the gaps. In the wintertime, if you're living in the Northeast or somewhere that there's not a lot of sunlight, vitamin D3 can be a wonderful thing to supplement with because it's very hard to get vitamin D in our diet. There are some foods that have it, but the best form is from sunlight. So if you've had your labs tested, you have a vitamin D deficiency, that can be something to supplement with. So individual basis. Okay. Ideally, how much water should you drink per day? I have recently been reading conflicting views, as well as a lot of nutritionists say that you should add salt or electrolytes. Just wondering what your thoughts are. Okay, so in general, half of your body weight in ounces per day is the recommendation, but this is also based on your body composition. If you have a leaner body mass, meaning you have more muscle mass, more skeletal mass, you are going to need more water than someone that has greater fat mass, because your muscles need a tremendous amount of water. Your body is made of 60 to 70% water. Your blood, your eyes, your organs, everything needs water to function optimally. So that's the general recommendation. If you're someone that has an excessive amount of fat mass, you can go a little bit lower than that. But in addition, if you're working out for more than, in general, 60 minutes or an hour of intense exercise, and you're sweating and you're losing water, you want to add an additional 15 to 20 ounces of water for each hour of exercise, on top of that need, the basic need for your body. And also consider other things that are potentially dehydrating for your body: caffeine, alcohol, diuretics, and exercise are the main forms of losing water for your body. So just making sure to balance and replenish those. So there's not always just one direct answer. We have to look at all the variables. And then in terms of electrolytes, on average, if you're someone that is working out 3 to 5 times a week, and you live a pretty normal life in the sense of you're, working a desk job, you're not really doing a lot of high intensity sweating for over an hour, you should be fine. You don't need to supplement with electrolytes. You're getting electrolytes in your diet. You're getting salt in your food. Salt your food. Make your food taste good, and not excessively, but when you're seasoning your food or adding a little flavor in your food, those electrolyte supplements are expensive too. And again, if you're getting what you need in your diet, we don't need all of these accessories, unless you're someone that is training for high intent. If you're a triathlete, right? Or if you're an athlete that's training over an hour every day, you're training 2 hours a day, multiple days a week, and you're clearly losing more than just your diet can handle, then yes, electrolytes at that point can be beneficial. So in general, if you're working out excessively for over an hour, electrolytes can be helpful. Hot yoga, Bikram yoga, that's 90 minutes. So at that point, that might be valuable to add some electrolytes. If you're someone that's doing, I have someone that does, I'm blanking the name, skinning with skiing. And she's doing that for like 90 minutes and she's really sweating and working super hard. That can be a point where you're supplementing with electrolytes. And you'll notice, again, your body's going to give you cues. I'm craving salt. I'm craving certain foods that have potassium. I'm craving magnesium, like those foods, fruits and vegetables that have those electrolytes and those vitamins and those minerals. Your body will tell you what it needs. So again, the same person that was skinning a lot and working out really hard, she was constantly wanting those salt. And once we got her diet in a better place and getting enough protein and enough carbs and enough electrolytes and salt from her food, and if she needed to supplement, she could, and feeling so much better, so much better. Okay, next question. Amelia says, what do you recommend eating before an early morning class? Sometimes it is hard to eat before a 5 a.m. class or a 6:15 a.m. class. What should the base of a light meal be before a workout that early? With an early morning class, that early, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., it matters most what you are doing the prior day with nutrition, sleep, and hydration. This is what is going to support your body most at this point. If you're setting yourself up well the prior day, you should be able to do your 5 or 6 a.m. workout fasted and then have a full breakfast within 60 to 90 minutes after your workout. That is really ideal. And this comes to making sure at dinner, you're having enough at dinner, you're drinking enough water, you're getting enough sleep. So oftentimes, if you are bonking and not being able to make it through a class at 5 or 6, it has more to do with what you didn't do to support your body the night before and the day before, and even the prior days before. If you really need something before working out, I mean, most people aren't really hungry at that point, but you want something quick digesting. Liquid is going to be broken down most quickly. And then you want something that's, a carb source that's the most effective energy for your body at that point. Applesauce could be great. It's that liquid, easy, low-fat milk, protein with milk, a piece of fruit, half a banana, dried fruit, granola bar, half a granola bar, fruit and nut bar, like a Lara bar, something like that. Some of my clients will do like a half a bar or a piece of fruit or just something small if you really do need something that early in the morning. So hope that was helpful. Okay, the next question is coffee helpful or harmful for weight loss? I did a full video on this a couple weeks ago talking about coffee and caffeine. So refer to that. And if you need help finding that, I can link that. Okay, Doreen says weight loss seems impossible for women in menopause. Real food versus low fat, low carb, 3 meals, 2 snacks, eat every 2 hours. What's the right answer? It can feel very overwhelming. And what do I even do? Everything you said, though, is relative. What does that mean? What does low fat mean? What does low carb mean? It depends on who you ask, right? What does that even mean? So that's why it's so important to understand what your nutrient needs are. What are your maintenance calories based on your age, height, weight, gender, and activity level? What are you doing now? What are your habits? What are your behaviors now? What is your baseline? And this is what I have new clients do for me before our first session together. They do give me some journaling information of what nutrition is now. Where are we at now? And based on this, we gain a starting point. And I have them do a full nutrition assessment. So I have a lot of background, a lot of information, so I can give them very direct support where they're at. Based on that, it's helpful to start with those 3 adequate meals. What does adequate mean? It depends. It depends. I would say in general, an adequate meal is 500 calories and it has carbs, fat, and protein. This is something I will individually give to my clients broken down with meals and snacks. From your adequate meals, then if you need snacks, adding that in. And that's going to be based on how much you need for the day. Typically, what works well for most people is doing your 3 meals and then having a snack typically in the afternoon, because that's going to be the biggest gap between lunch and dinner often. But it's what works best for you. Some people, need those 2 snacks in the morning, in the afternoon. Some people need a 3rd snack. It's very dependent. But yes, in general, real foods, whole foods, nutrient-dense foods are going to be primary, regardless of your age, regardless of your hormones. having all of those variety of nutrients, and learning to include the foods you love and enjoy. If you are feeling completely restricted, you're not going to stick with it. So learning how to build in the things you love, pasta, pancakes, ice cream, wine, whatever it is, how can these things fit into your week in a way that also feels supportive for you and you're moving forward towards your goals? That's really the key. Low fat, low carb. That's such a general term. And that's what I struggle with, because low carb, like this 50 grams a day, like please stop with this 75. Your brain needs 130 grams of carbs just to function. So often I have women come to me that are having significant brain fog, difficulty concentrating, can't remember things. And it's not a cognitive impairment. It's a blood sugar impairment. A lack of energy, a lack of nutrition, a lack of carbs is the problem. So please, please, please make sure that you are doing this in a healthy way versus completely cutting out nutrients unnecessarily. Your body is really not changing in terms of a metabolic standpoint that drastically as you age. It's more about what you're doing to support your system as a whole and making sure you're not under eating, truly. Okay, I do want to be mindful of time here. Let's see. Okay, Sarah says, I try to eat a healthy breakfast, usually 2 eggs, 1 egg, and vegetables, but sometimes I get bored of eggs and oatmeal. Only once a week do I feel like, oh, I don't want eggs today. Is it okay to have a small bowl of Cheerios and milk? I have it drilled in my head that this is so unhealthy, but would like to have it once a week. My gosh, have the cereal. Yes, you have to be able to have the foods you love. Permission granted, Sarah. It's more important about recognizing how these different foods make you feel. So understand that a bowl of cereal is not going to keep you satisfied as long. It's not good or bad. It's just saying, okay, well, I'm not having enough protein. I'm not having enough fiber. I'm not having enough of these other nutrients that keep my blood sugar stable. So it's not a matter of I'm going to gain weight if I eat cereal. It's just a matter of this isn't going to sustain me as long. So if I want to have cereal, great, but maybe I'm going to have to plan in ways I can add protein with this, or maybe have cereal as a snack or pre-workout because it's quick digesting. That could be a great thing to have as like an afternoon option or post-workout even. But in terms of breakfast, okay, so you don't want eggs or oatmeal. There's a plethora of other things we could do to have a balanced meal with yogurt, or adding, doing like a protein pancake or waffle and adding fruit and yogurt or cottage cheese or eggs with these other foods together. And if you want to have the cereal, put your Cheerios on yogurt for some protein, add protein powder in your milk and have it with your Cheerios that way. So there's so many things we can do to add nutrients into foods that you love. You can add fruit in there as well. So add some banana or blueberries or something also in there as well. Okay, next question. Maria says, what should our meals consist more of on certain days, like endurance, power, or strength? More protein, less carbs. Hopefully this makes sense. Yeah, I think sometimes we can get so caught up in this to where it's more stressful than helpful. Listen to your body, listen to your hunger, listen to your appetite. My recommendation is to keep meals steady, regardless of workouts throughout the week. So having steady meals throughout the day, and then depending on hunger levels and workouts, add a snack. So if you typically have 3 meals and 1 snack, and you notice I'm a lot hungrier on these days, add another snack. Some people don't feel hunger changing until the next day from a really intense workout. And that's why I don't say like it has to be that same day, because everybody's different in how they feel. And if you're constantly just forcing yourself, it's not helpful. Listen to hunger, keep meal steady, add additional protein and carb snack if you feel hungrier on that day. Okay, there's a few more questions, but this was, I think, long enough to keep your attention. So if you have been here with me, thank you. I appreciate you. It's just, it can be a lot, right? It can be a lot of information. So I will answer the other questions at another point. And if you also have additional questions as I was talking through things, add them in the comment section and I will do my best to get to those as well. So let me know if you learned something different, if you have questions based on what I talked about, and if you want further support, send me a message directly and I can share with you other options I have with an 8-week program or more individual support through coaching together. All right, my friends, have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.